Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dami. If you're new here, welcome to the family. And if you're a returning subscriber, it is so good to have you guys back on this channel. Thank you guys so much. So for the past 3 weeks, I've been posting back on YouTube, and you guys have been nothing short but a blessing. Like, it's been so exciting to return back. I've gotten so much love from you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I'm just excited to be back here. There's so much positive energy, and yeah, so basically on today's video, I just thought, you know what, let me talk about the reason why I left the UK, because I know a couple people have asked me, but then I didn't really get like specific questions. So I will just, give you like a rundown as to why I left the UK. And without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Okay, guys. So basically, if you are new here, if you're not new here, you guys should know that I was living in the UK, and then I now moved to Canada. Before I came here, I lived in the UK for about 3 years, and honestly, it was really nice. I won't even lie to you. I moved into the UK in 2020 during like just when COVID was like just reducing, and then we started like allowed to start going out and all of that. So I moved into the UK then for my master's degree, and I stayed there from 2020 until last year, and it was a very, very good experience. I won't lie to you. The UK is somewhere that I never really thought about like living there, honestly. I really wanted, like, I've always wanted to live in Canada. I won't even lie to you guys. Like, since when I finished like uni in 2016, I wanted to come to Canada. Some things happened, and I didn't proceed to make my visa application to come here. Although I even applied to like universities, I got admissions, and I even paid my tuition for a college that I was going to go to in 2017. But some things happened, and at the end, I did not go. So that was in 2017. So 3 years later, I went to the UK, and it was at first I was like, oh my god, how will I survive in this country and all of that. But like over the years, I really enjoyed my stay. I learned so much. It helped me to like grow more independently. It helped me to like be more exposed to other people's culture, because honestly, one thing about the UK is that the UK is very, very, very diverse. Like, you will find people from even countries you've never heard of before, which like kind of exposes you to like so many things. So I really enjoyed living in the UK. It was nice. I made lots of friends. I have lots of friends back there. I even made friends that are now family, and I'm so grateful for that experience. So honestly, I won't come here and say, "Oh, the UK, is not a nice country or whatever." Honestly, the UK is nice. One thing I love about the UK is that the UK also is like has very mild weather, so it's not as cold as Canada. So coming here was like a different thing entirely. But that's a story for another day. So honestly, I lived in the UK. I studied, I worked, and I worked several jobs, like multiple jobs in the UK. I don't think I really ever talked about that. I might actually do a video about the jobs I did whilst I was back in the UK. But I finished uni in 2022, and I started working like a normal corporate 9 to 5. I worked in a bank, then I worked in like a um pension service providing organization, basically. So I worked in those two places before I left, and it was nice for me to actually have that work exposure, because honestly, I would say that kind of played like a big role to me settling in Canada faster. Because if I had not mentioned to you guys, I got my job in like a few weeks, like I think 6 weeks like after I moved to Canada. So I would say that being like working in the UK, corporate jobs and all of that kind of helped me, easily like navigate into Canadian system. I'm not sure, but I think that's what happened, and the grace of God, honestly. So the UK was a very nice place for me to live. It was quite affordable to a reasonable extent, and there's just a lot of. It was very easy also for me to like move from the UK to Nigeria and Nigeria back to the UK, because it's just 6 hours, right, compared to here in Canada. But then I left. One reason why I left the UK was number one, I got married. Obviously, I think that's like one of the major things. I got married, and my husband obviously lives in Canada, and it makes no sense for me to be in the UK, my husband in Canada. Honestly, we did like long distance marriage for a couple of months, but obviously we knew that it was going to end at some point. I was going to join him, so that was one of the reasons I left, because I got married. I could not see long distance marriage. Oh my god, it's not something that I pray for anyone to really like have to go through, especially if it's like for years. It's not easy, especially like if you and your partner, your husband have been like doing long distance relationship. Because myself and my husband, we always long distance, like literally ultra relationship. It was always in a different country. He would always come to the UK to see me and all of that. But thank God, at least that's over now. So one of the reasons I left was because of I got married. The second reason I left was because obviously we know that in as much as the UK is nice and the pound is strong and it's like close proximity to like home countries, for example, for me Nigeria, and even close proximity to like Europe. You can literally like European countries, sorry, because you UK also is in Europe. But anyway, so it's like very close proximity to like European countries. Like, I can go to France, go to Italy, literally everywhere. Like literally like an hour, 2 hours flight, and you're where you're going to. So it's like easier for you to explore places. But then, in terms of settling in the UK, it's like one of the most difficult things. I think for me, I went into the UK with a study visa. So after I finished my program, it was about almost 2 years, I think 18 months after I finished, I started working like my corporate job. But the thing is that different corporate jobs have like, or different jobs have like different criteria to sponsorship. There's some jobs that will sponsor you right away, like that's one of like your terms of getting the job, right? But with all those jobs, you obviously would need to work a couple of months or even a year or so before they like, you pass the probation and they say, okay, fine, they'll sponsor you. So I think for me, that was one of the things that worried me because I finished my program. I started working a corporate job and there was no sponsorship at that point. And there was that uncertainty, like what's going to happen, right? I have like my 2 years post study. Like after 2 years, if they don't decide to sponsor me, then I will be like stuck or I'll have no choice but to return back, right? And for me, one of the reasons why I left Nigeria was because I wanted a better life, better opportunities for myself and also for my family and all of that. So I wasn't going to take chances, right? So I remember that after I worked in my first corporate job for like 7 months, I left for another job, like with the hope of, okay, maybe, just in case. But then, as God will have it, then my husband had moved to Canada and I just knew that, okay, you know what? At some point, I was going to join him. We're not married then, but I knew I was going to join him. So that uncertainty of, am I going to get sponsorship? What's going to happen if I don't get like a job that decide to sponsor me? Do I have to go back to study and try to find jobs at that point? Do I have to change my career path? Things like that. And the way life is, like you don't want to get to the point where you have no choice but to just budge and just take whatever comes to you, or you have to return back and then you start feeling like, oh my god, have I not, like, what have I not done well, like that kind of thing. And honestly, no one can plan their future, like plan or predict what will happen in your future. But then again, you can only try, right? A lot of people struggle with these things, and I think that I'm glad that people really talk about it now, because it's not easy. Like, you can always return back to your home country, right? Fine, but like if things are not working there, what's the point of now like subjecting yourself to a lot of struggles? So for me, that was one reason. Like the final, like getting a job to sponsor me was something I knew might be very hard. So I just knew that, okay, you know what, since I have the chance to join my husband, why not, right? And finally, it's just settling down. I feel like the path can be either 5 years or I think 10 years thereabouts, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But like 5 years, meaning that when you if you get a job that sponsors you, so let's say you're lucky, you get a job that sponsors you and everything, you need to be tied to that organization for like 5 years. I mean, you can change your jobs, but it has to be, or your job, sorry, it has to be in the same field. So for example, you're working in tech, right? If you're going to change your sport and you're sponsored in that tech job, if you're going to change to like maybe healthcare or something, obviously that would, I think, if I'm wrong, please correct me again, that's going to cancel like your 2 years or whatever. So there's that fear of like, you can't even stand up for yourself at work because you don't want your HR to look at you in some way and say that, oh, like, things like that. I think for me, it was just that fear of being stuck to a job and not having that flexibility to just say you want to, let's say you're feeling uncomfortable, you want to vex and go and everything. So, and again, when you finish, let's say you now get the job, 5 years, you're stuck with that job. Then after 5 years, if your everything goes well by the grace of God, you get your 1 year. You have 1 year. I think you get your permanent residency, your IELR. That's what it's called. And then you now become a citizen, which is good. So 6 years tops, you become a citizen. So that's good, right? But there's also the one of, if you don't get a sponsorship, then you now have to start working and working and working and working. Like, Honestly, it was just, oh sorry, studying and studying and studying like for 10 years, then you can now apply. So honestly, I just did not feel like I wanted to subject myself to that stress. So from the very get-go, when I moved to the UK, I started making plans. Like me and my husband, we met in the UK, which is something I'm so thankful for. Like I'm grateful that that's why I said that I love the UK, regardless of living in Canada, because I got the gift of my husband whilst I was living in the UK. So me and my husband, from the very get go, we knew that okay, if one does not work, another one works. I will always say that please have multiple plans. Like if you're living in the UK, if you are like you have a sponsorship job, that's good. Like that's fine if you know that everything is going well. Well, if you're living in Canada, so you don't know what's going to happen. Like if you're living in the US or whatever, like wherever it is that you live, as far as you know, you don't have like a permanent stay. I feel like it's important to have multiple plans, multiple options, so that you don't find yourself in a very difficult position. And at the end, you have to just take whatever is given to you. And I'll say for students that are still like studying the UK and still kind of trying to like decide what's going to happen and all of that, like make plans, have several options, try everything you can so that you don't just find yourself in a very hard position. I feel like the UK immigration law is something that really, like, I used to be so bothered about because they could change anything at any time. Like you could just be having a normal day, happy and all of that, then just hear one news and you're like, oh my god, what am I going to do now? Like now, I think currently with the care visa, you can't even bring your dependents, so you can't bring your wife or your children. And I feel like that is really unfair because I can't be married now and I have kids. And then because I get a job and opportunity to work in the UK, then I will then leave my children and my husband back home. Come on, let's be honest. So I feel like that's one of the things that really bothered me. But yeah, the UK was good to me. I won't lie to you. I love the UK. I would still visit the UK because I have friends there and friends that, like I said, that are like family. My friends that probably get married in the UK, and obviously I would obviously go for their wedding, things like that. So the UK is somewhere that will always have like a very special place in my heart. But then I had to make a decision for myself, for my family, for my children, and just do what's best for me. So that's it basically. There's nothing really special per se. I feel like these are just general things that people think about before like leaving or staying back and all of that. But that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If I said anything that maybe is not completely correct, please correct me in the comment section, but be nice about it, right? I'm just talking based on my own experience, my opinion, and things that I have researched so far. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. You don't